Hi, good morning. So, as for now, no students have joined yet. I guess you're going to join in a bit. So, we'll start since we have another class of the advanced in a bit. So, today I want to point out a couple of things before we begin. I hear many students saying that they don't have time, which is understandable. You have families, you have jobs, you have other priorities, but um, whenever I hear I don't have time, or also goes for I don't have money, or I don't have patience, or whatever it goes in life in general, I just give you a tip. That's how I see things. And anyway, is you have to add at the end of that for that, meaning I don't have time for that. Because think of how much time people or yourself, and I'm not telling anyone what to do with their time, but just to give you a bit of perspective, think of how much time you spend on social media or watching TV or just doing basically unproductive things. I also don't go full productive the entire day. I understand sometimes you wanna relax a bit or watch something, but still, um, think that Hebrew uh, is important, and one of the ways uh, to make time for that is to understand what it gives you, right? Learning Hebrew will allow you to communicate with others without being embarrassed, with confidence and fluency. Think of that. Perhaps that will give you enough motivation to close your Facebook session at that moment and give and put the time that you were about to spend on Facebook to Hebrew, right? Um, you also want to understand what's going around you. I imagine some of you are on constant tourist mode, right? In terms of understanding the news, the street signs, the letters you get via mail, like official letters or from utility companies or whatever. I know that when I'm abroad in a country that I don't speak the language, that's how I feel. Like whatever, if I turn on the TV or I see the street signs, I can imagine that many of you living here experience the same thing. So improving your Hebrew and working on your Hebrew will allow you to feel more comfortable where you are. And the third thing is work and business, right? Not necessarily like building now an empire, but just even the professionals among you, those who are accountants or psychologists or people who if they had a better Hebrew would be able to perhaps increase their income or have more um, employment options. I think that if you wanna reframe what Hebrew will do for you and therefore give it more and find the motivation to give it more time, I think these are good things to have in mind. um, that's it basically, right? And all right, that this is what I want to say basically, and let's continue to the text for today. Notice that today I will try a different approach. We're not going to just learn random words, even though I told you many times they're not just random words, but it's still words. It's still words that even if we try framing them in a scenario, they keep being a bit loose. Let's try getting a text. Okay, just got it from like this newspaper, very simple or supposedly simple, and we'll try reading it together. I'll give you time to repeat. I'll give you time to I'll translate it as well, of course, and then the practice work would be a bit interesting. Let's see. So Yom Hahalicha Haolami. Okay, Yom Ha'alicha Ha'olami, the International Walking Day. Et Yom Ha'alicha Ha'olami, the International Walking Day, שחל מדי שנה ב-30 באוקטובר, that occurs or is said to be every year on October 30th, ציינו השנה ביום שישי שעבר. They celebrated, kind of like celebrated this year last Friday. Okay, on last Friday. The international Yom ההליכה העולמי נקבע כדי לעודד פעילות גופנית. The International Walking Day was set in order to encourage physical activity by walking באמצעות הליכה, שהיא ספורט נפוץ ואפשרי לכולם. That is a common sport and everybody can do it. אפשרי, like literally possible, but that everybody can do it. That's the idea behind this sentence. So these are two tiny sentences. Overall, we have 32 words, including the title. I want to hear your feedback. Is it too many words? Is it too little words? Perhaps we can add a bit more. And do you rather this or the words or a combination of both? So your practice work for today is locate all the verbs in this text. Write the shoresh and the binyan. Use the tools I gave you the other day, I think 2 days ago, the milog, for example. The milog is excellent. You just type in the word, it gives you the shoresh and the binyan and everything. First, try yourself. First, give it a first try. Let's see, you see the word leoded, okay? This is a verb, leoded, to encourage. Perhaps you know that is, right? PL, who oded. Yeah, I think it's PL. I have to check it. Sometimes you have these weird words that you don't know the binyan right away, but it's an exception. So you have the word leoded. Give it a first try and then go for the milog and write it correctly. So you write the shoresh, which is adad, ain, dalet in this case, the binyan. And if you want a conjugation, for example, I encouraged, or you encouraged, or she will encourage, or whatever. Another task would be to locate all the words you don't know, all the words that you don't know, and just form your vocabulary down here or on another document and create sentences with these words. Okay. Feel free, by the way, to copy these sentences and change little things in them. For example, at Yom HaHalicha Olami, you can say at Shvua HaHalicha Olami. For example, if it were a week of an international walking week instead of a day, so change that and still maintains its logic. The sentence Shechal Midei Shana or the Shechal Midei Chodesh. You can say it occurs or takes place every month. You can change the date, which, by the way, I want to touch on the date as well today. And Tziyinu Hashana Beyom Shishi, you can change Shishi to Chamishi to Revi. Just make small tweaks and see how you are able to take a sentence, change little things, and maintain its logics and accuracy. All of this is practice, but kind of like an additional practice if you want. The main core practice today is locating the verbs, finding the binyanim, the shoresh, and all the words that you don't know, general nouns and adjectives and so on. And that's it. Okay, this is it. Very simple. Let me know if you want more words or more text. Actually, if you would take this approach, or if you prefer the words, let me know. That's very, very important. And another thing is the dates. And I told you that I want to touch on today. Today is 10 בנובמבר 2020. Okay, November 10th. 2020. In Hebrew, it is 10 בנובמבר 2020, okay? 10 בנובמבר 2020. And also in Hebrew, you have the Hebrew date. You're going to see it many times, especially on formal letters or formal announcements of the government. If you see them anyway, especially now with all the plague, they announce it quite often. You can see it also in newspapers. Most newspapers, if not all, use also, not exclusively, but also the Hebrew date. So you're going to see today's newspaper, for example, having Kaf Gimel Becheshvan Hatavshin Pei Aleph. Okay, I'll give you a second to repeat it again. Now, Chaf Gimel Becheshvan Hatafshin Pei Aleph, or Hatashpa. And it's crucial that you know the dates. Many students may have a nice vocabulary with them, but when it comes to date, they just don't know how to say today's date. And it's a bit funny, you know, people like with good vocabulary. Really, I've met people with good vocabulary that when it comes to date, they just immediately say it in English because it's too complicated. You would like to remember the date, the numbers, and the months, and it's not too complicated. We're going to go over these dates again and again in the following days for you to have different examples, okay, and different patterns. Which leads me to the last thing: different patterns and your ability to process them and use them. The other day I was learning. I heard a bit, and because it interests me, the implants and how they work, right? When you implant a heart or a bone, the body is amazing. The human body is amazing. When you implant, again, a heart, a bone, any other organ, you make, or the doctor makes very small attachments of, for example, blood vessels and tissues and so on. But most of the work of taking this organ and making it your own and being able to use it, right, is done by your body automatically. It just attaches to it with like blood vessels and everything, in addition to what the doctor has initially done. Um, and the results are amazing. So this the same goes here. I want to implant kind of, for the analogy, Hebrew to your brain. And part of it is by showing you examples and patterns for your brain to be able to use them afterwards when needed. Okay, so you're going to see, for example, 5, 6, 10, 15 date forms over the course of this program. Well, we don't have many days left for this program, but still you're going to see 4 or 5 more. You're going to be able to start doing it yourself, to name the date of today by yourself eventually. Trust yourself. Also, the more you practice, the better. What we spoke about it about at the beginning of the class, giving it time. The more you practice, the more your body is going to be able, your body, your mind, your brain, your mouth, because eventually most of the communication you do with your mouth will do it better than your brain. Okay, the same as athletes train a lot, and eventually their body does amazing things without them even thinking about it. The same will go here in Hebrew. The more you practice, the more you're going to get it to it. Again, a reminder, this English is kind of an example of this. I practice and practice and practice to the point that now I can teach you this class in English and communicate with you during the day. So that's it. Trying to make the class short again. I hope you had a good class. Please go over and practice. I don't give you a minimum mandatory amount of practice you have to do. Just, I don't know, put in some time, 5-10 minutes, and do what you can. If more than that, then more than that. We'll be in touch over WhatsApp during the day, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.